green light. Show them what you... Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Motive Racing channel. We're about to go lights out here for round 3 of our Sunday GT3 League. Thank you to everybody joining us live on the YouTube stream. Once again, welcome along, glad you could join us. We're going to watch this start on board with Mr. Leone G tonight. He's qualified in 4th in this one, is a late stand-in for this Sunday League tonight. He raced on Wednesday as well, so that was around the Hungaroring, so it's not going to do him much good in terms of Catalunya tonight, but it looks like we're about to go lights out here. You've got Oswills on the right, put it on pole position by just over a second, a good margin to Kurt Hodgson. Looks like we're underway. We are green, and G gets away pretty nicely. Looks like he might have already got ahead of Ads here as they came over the line to start the race. He has indeed. G attacking towards the outside here. Oswald's on the inside. Looks like Kurt Hodgson has got a fantastic run down towards turn 1. He's already got ahead there of Oswald's, so brilliant stuff there from Kurt Hodgson. It looks like G has slotted in just behind Oswald's. He's got ahead of Ads here coming through turn 1 and 2. Ads is still right behind him though. You've got Mazda sat P5 at the moment. Frugox lost the position to Spider-Man. Spider-Man's up into 6th place there. You've got Codilungu looking up the inside here of Motor and Morgan, trying to get that position back that he lost off the line. Morgan holding on the outside. Frugox getting a little bit loose onto the curve on the grass on the inside there of turn 4, but just about keeping it, pointing in the right direction. Codilungu looking to the outside here of Morgan. It doesn't look like Codilungu can make it round, and Codilungu's gone wide onto the gravel trap. Codilungu out of shape there, drops back to last place there, I think. Oh, he's dropped back just behind Ram Driver, so yeah, last place there for him as we see a little bit of contact there as it came up through turn 7, but it looks like it's all good for the time being. So Mazda there drops a little bit off of Ads. You've got Frugox, looks like he lost the place to Spider-Man, Codilungu, and Hater Spray now battling it out. Hater Spray has made a fantastic start here. Has got himself up into 8th place already as we see side by side in the foreground there. And Mazda's still trying to find a way past Ads. You can see Ads is right up behind the only G now in the battle for 3rd and 4th. G got the better run off the line, managed to pick up that position, but Ads certainly not lying down. Mazda just watching this unfold. Battle at the front, 0.3 of a second separating Kurt Hodgson and Oswills. Oswills was 2 seconds quicker than Kurt at the last track at the Hungaroring, so Kurt will have been practicing tirelessly this week to make sure that doesn't happen again. And you can see he's got the perfect start, absolutely nailed his getaway, and finds himself with the ascendancy at this point. But for how long can he keep Oswald's behind him? Could he potentially keep him behind him for the entire race? I mean, he's going to have to be pretty dialed into when Oswald's is coming into the pits to cover him off, because Oswald's, we know, has just got some tremendous pace, but has Kurt got the tenacity and the bravery to stay in front? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be a long race for him. 45 minutes of Catalunya, and we see Kurt going a little bit wide there. Oswald's probably won't need many more invitations than that. Kurt gets away with it that time around, but you can see there Oz very, very close to capitalising on that. It's going to take not the biggest amount of errors for Kurt to throw this lead away, but at the moment he's clinging on by the skin of his teeth. He's going to go very defensive here. He leaves the minimum amount of space as we see. Late covering there, and in the end Oz has the inside. Is he going to actually hold on to the move? It looks like he does. Yes, he is. So that is the move done. Oswald up into P1. Kurt unable to fight him for any longer. The only G still holding off Ads in the battle for 3rd and 4th. Mazda just watching this unfold behind him. You've got Spider-Man, looks like he's dropped off of Morgan a little bit, and he's gone off. And a little bit of contact there with Codilungu. Spider-Man is down to the back of the pack. Very unfortunate there for him. Codilungu unfortunately had nowhere to go really. Spider-Man seemed to get a little bit out of shape. Morgan and Frugox still battling over 7th and 8th. Motor and Morgan. Big shout out to our Clio Cup champion over on Project Cars 2 here at Motive Racing. He knows what it takes to win a championship. This is his first race, competitive race here on ACC, so we'll have to give him a bit of leeway. He's not going to obviously be making gains straight away here, but it's good to see him out on the track tonight. Yeah, fingers crossed that he can get a good result. Obviously it's not easy coming to a new game, especially when you're so used to a certain way of handling and the physics and all those sorts of things. And obviously Morgan's speciality is as far as I know, not really in GT3. I know that he's pretty handy in the GTEs. I haven't actually seen him race competitively in them. He's usually more of a Clio Cup type of guy. We've also seen him race in the GT5 Genettas in the past as well, over on Project Cars 2. But this is his first real test in the GT3s from what I've seen, and at the moment he's doing a good job. Currently sat in the mid-pack at this point, very, very close behind Frugox. Indeed. Gap at the front. Oswald has almost pulled out a second here to Kurt Hodgson at the front. Kurt is still giving it absolutely everything, not allowing Oz to run off into the sunset. Ad's still sat just behind G at this point, half a second separating these boys in a battle for the final podium spot. Mazda still sat extremely close behind these boys at this point. Smallest little mistake from either of these guys, Mazda will be on it like a carb on it. We've got Ram Driver still sat in P10, he's just behind Metalhead at this point. 0.3 of a second separating these guys as they come round the final bend. Kodulungu looks like he's got the run here on Morgan. He's closed in massively on that last lap. Is he going to have a little look to the inside of turn 1? He's a little bit too far back to go for it. Not opting for any distraction techniques or little games or anything like that. He's just opting to be patient, playing the waiting game at this point is Kodulungu, as we see him getting a little bit sideways there through turn 3. But ultimately I think that's just the way that he drives it through that corner. So Frugox with a little bit of breathing room after Morgan, presumably I assume, making a mistake in the, I guess, the last sector of the previous lap. Can't confirm on that, but I have a suspicion. Looks like we've got still a battle here going on for 3rd, 4th and 5th. The only G, Damn Mazda, in a line at the moment. Ad's having a little look on G, but he's not. G's certainly not going to be phased by that. G knows how to defend his position very nicely indeed, as we see him going to the inside here. Ads is going to try and go around the outside of turn 9, but I don't think he's going to get it around him at the moment. And G spins it! G has lost the car. We've got a yellow flag here through turn 9. G facing in the wrong direction. Looks like he gets it pointing correctly once again. So Frugox up into 5th place. G is down to 6th here. So he'll have Motor and Morgan for company. Yes, he does indeed. You can see Morgan and Kodulungu now right up the chop here of G. So he get a little bit wide there coming into the final section of the lap. Morgan has a little look to the inside, rides over the sausage curb. Morgan's suspension is not going to be thanking him for that, but it looks like he's got the move here on G. G's going to have the inside for the final bend. He has to cut the curb there to avoid contact with Morgan. Kodulungu now getting way out, and it looks like he's got the move as well. So G dropping lots of positions here with that little debacle coming through turn 9. Spun the car around. Looked like he was really pushing it to try and hold on to that podium spot, but it's all gone a little bit pear-shaped for him. So Morgan and Kodulungu up into 6th and 7th respectively. Mazda still all over the back of Ads here in this battle for 3rd and 4th. But G still very, very close behind Kodulungu at this point. And Morgan as well, so I would say for sure G is definitely going to be on some good points if he can just keep himself in the game, keep his head down, keep plugging away. I'm sure he'll be able to bring himself back into this race. Metalhead has done a bit of quiet work. We haven't been looking at him much, but he's been closing in on these guys up ahead. He's now within a second of this 3-way battle, so this could become a 4-way battle for P5 in a moment. Oh, as I say that, Metalhead gets sideways, snap oversteer, puts it onto the gravel trap. Ram Driver goes by to pick up that 9th position, and Metalhead takes the polystyrene with him as well. That is absolutely gutting there for Metalhead. He's dropped way back down the field, down to 10th place. As we're riding with Morgan here, he's still right up the chuff here of Kodulungu. A little bit late on the brake, staying off that sausage curb on the inside. Not quite able to get around him at the moment. He might have a chance coming down the pit straight though. Let's keep an eye. G's dropped a little bit off of these guys. I'm just hearing reports Kurt Hodgson has dropped behind Ads. So we didn't see what happened. Kurt was obviously running near the front with the race leader Oswald. Oh no! Kurt's almost lost the car there coming through turns 1 and 2. He just about manages to hold on to the car, but he looked very precarious there. Mazda's moved up into third place, so Kurt maybe feeling the pressure now. He was doing a fantastic job of staying with Oz Wills, keeping right with him, but maybe pushing a little bit too hard, and he's found himself unstuck, unfortunately for him. And now Frugox is involved in this battle for third place. You got Mazda, Kurt Hodgson and Frugox separated by absolutely nothing at the moment. Cardalungu still running in 6th place at the moment. Morgan very close behind him. Looks like G is dropping off of this battle for 6th position at this point. Ram driver, a metalhead, so unfortunate on that previous lap. Metalhead, he was looked like he was bringing himself into that battle for P7, but unfortunately, sorry, P6, but unfortunately he did get a little bit loose on the coming through this next turn coming up after this one. But they're still going, still sticking with it. Good to see. It was at that corner there last time around that Metalhead unfortunately met his undoing. Looks like Spider-Man is into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. I'm not quite sure if it's damage or what exactly is occurring, but it looks like there is some lengthy repairs going on in that pit box. Oz Wills, you saw there going past, still with the lead of the race. 10 seconds, 11 seconds now, the gap at the front to ads. Mazda picked up P3 by virtue of Kurt Hodgson's small little error we saw coming through turn 1 last time around. He's still running in P4, he's got Frugox for company. Frugox is surely going to be fancy his chances of a podium in this one. You can see Mazda 2 places up ahead of him in the distance there, so it's definitely not beyond him tonight. If he can keep himself going in the right vein that he is, then he'll definitely have a chance of getting a top 3 here for round 3 of the championship. So the energy pulled into within a second here of Motor and Morgan, so he's starting to find some pace after we saw him getting into a little bit of bother earlier on. He was fighting over the podium spots in the early few laps of this race. Obviously it looks like Kurt Hodgson has unfortunately made another mistake. He's dropped down to 5th place, he's dropped behind Frugox here. So I don't know what woes are troubling Kurt Hodgson at the moment, but he's definitely struggling at this point. Ads is doing a pretty good job of keeping that gap at the front to Oz Wills at pretty consistent level, staying at about 11 seconds, 11-12 seconds for the last few laps. So Ads definitely has got some pace in that Bentley tonight. Very impressive to see. He's pulling away from Mazda quite a bit as well, because Mazda's now 4.3 seconds off of our man in P2. Frugox still sat P4. Obviously picked up that position of Kurt Hodgson. I said a couple of laps ago Frugox could be on for a podium, but I think Mazda is pulling away from him a little bit at this point. Motor in Morgan looks like he's dropped. Oh no, hold on, he's fighting out with Yeah, Motoring Morgan has dropped way back down the field. It looks like he's now down in 11th place, I think. Unconfirmed, because obviously the classification doesn't update immediately, but let's see, because Morgan was fighting with Spider-Man. Unless he was lapping him, it could actually, I do apologise, that could be a lap there from Morgan. Yes, it was indeed. So he's still dropped back though. He's now nearly 10 seconds behind the only G, so something's happened to Morgan over the course of the last couple of laps. Ram drivers into the pits for his mandatory pit stop. I believe Spider-Man has been in, also Codalunga I think has also been in as well. So the guys in 9th, 10th and 11th have all come in. The guys from 1st to 8th places all still need to come in at some point during this race. Oswell's extends his gap to 13 seconds at the front. Ads and Mazda separated by 4.6, pretty much the same in that regard. Frugox is at just under 3 seconds behind Mazda at the moment, keeping him in sight. Smallest little mistake from Mazda, and Frugox will be right there with a chance of taking a 3rd place finish. Just needs to keep his head in the game, keep focused and continue pushing. So ladies and gentlemen, Oswell's pulled out another second on that last lap. Currently 14.4 seconds of a lead to Ads at this point. Looks like Ads is cementing that position in 2nd place. Currently got a gap of 5.7 back to Mazda, who in turn pulled out another 3/10 on Frugox that last time around. But Frugox definitely keeping himself in the hunt for a podium spot. Lapping pretty consistently at the moment in that Ferrari. You got Kurt Hodgson P5, who's had a difficult race. He was fighting it out at the front with Oswells for a few laps, but I think just the pressure of having to be pushing as hard as you have to be to keep in with a chance of beating that man at the front. It's obviously done a bit of a number on Kurt. He's dropped down to P5, but he is slowly closing in on Frugox at the moment for that 4th place. The only G still sat 6th at the moment. Obviously our multiple world record holder on project cars too in the V8 supercars. So we know he's got the credentials, but obviously still relatively new to ACC. So just finding his footing at this point. Motoring Morgan currently 3 seconds behind G, so it looks like G has made a mistake somewhere, because Morgan's closing that gap. As I say, 3.2 seconds. Morgan currently with the ascendancy in that battle. You got Metalhead sat in 8th place, driving in the Porsche at the moment. Now we did see Metalhead making an unfortunate mistake coming through turn 8 a few laps to go, which dropped him way back down the field. Dropped him to 10th at the time. He's made his way back up to 8th. Ram driver looks like he's already been in, so these guys, Ram driver, Codalunga and Spider-Man, have all been in for their mandatory pit stop. That's the state of play at the moment. You can see Spider-Man has just been lapped there by Morgan. I think he was lapped a while ago, so Spider-Man does seem to have some pretty strong pace, it must be said. He's keeping up with the leaders who have lapped him. That's no mean feat there from Spider-Man. Good to see him keep him with it at this point. Kurt's taken a little bit more time out of Frugox. Looks like he's almost within 2 seconds of him now. Frugox will be feeling that pressure just a little bit now. Obviously he'll be hoping to chase down Mazda as well for that third place spot. So they got 2.3 between Frugox and Kurt Hodgson. Sorry. Morgan took a little bit more time out of G that last time around as well. It looks like he could be within 2 seconds here as they come over the line. Let's see, bang on 2 seconds there between G and Morgan. So Morgan does seem to be making some pretty sufficient time up on him at this point, but is he going to be able to take him in this race? Almost halfway through this one. You can see there G really struggling there through turns 1 and 2. Struggling to get the car turned in properly. I don't know if there's some damage there to our multiple world record holder on Project Cars 2 in the V8 Supercars. Morgan is really reeling him in. Morgan, our champion in the Clio Cup over on Project Cars 2. G, the champion in our GTE division, former GT5 Ginetta champion as well. Obviously this ACC, whole different ball game. Completely different level of sim racing, which these guys are more than up to the challenge of. It's been unfortunate for both of them, very unlucky so far in this race. Kurt Hodgson's closed. Oh, I was going to say Kurt Hodgson has closed up to within 2.1 of Frugox, but they're just getting a little bit loose onto the power coming out of turn 9. Keeping onto it though, but that was close there for Kurt Hodgson. Still didn't lose as much time as maybe he could have lost there. Lucky escape for Kurt Hodgson, managed to recover it before it went round. Ram Driver looks like he's closing up onto the back of Metalhead now in the battle for 8th and 9th place. All over the back of him at the moment. It looks like he is a little bit too far back at this point. Looks like Oswald has just put a lap there on Kodalungu. Morgan now all over the back of the only G. This is the battle for 6th and 7th. These two guys who fought out the championship to our Clio Cup over on Project Cars 2 last season. Look like they're battling it out here for round 3 of our ACC Sunday GT3 League here at Motive Racing. These two know each other very well. There is a little bit of a rivalry going on between these lads, so it's going to be fascinating to see how this one pans out. Morgan currently sat in very close proximity to the rear end of that Porsche. Wonder if the McLaren is going to have the pace to try and pull a fast one here on that Porsche. But at this point it looks like G's picked up the pace just a little bit with the added pressure of Morgan being right behind him. Gap between Frugox and Kurt Hodgson still 2.3 seconds at the moment, and that gap does appear to be sticking more or less the same as what it has been for the last few laps. 7/10 separating these two boys. It looks like Morgan's looking to the inside. G has to leave the door open. Does Morgan have the move completed? It looks like he does. Morgan is up into 6th place. Sort of caught the tail end of that manoeuvre, and it looked like a brilliant move. Very brave there from Morgan on the brakes. Can G fight back? It looks like G pulls into the pits. So Morgan then, oh, G whacks it into the wall. No! G puts it into the barriers on the entry to the pits. Has a very, very small amount of space to work with as he tries to get the car pointing in the right direction again. Oh my goodness. So G had just lost the position there to Morgan, and then unfortunately stacks it on the entry to the pit lane. That is not going to have done his race chances any good there. He's probably lost the chance of finishing in 6th place. Morgan is up into that position now, and G in all sorts of bother here. The real shame there for the only G. Currently we've got Ram Driver here just behind Metalhead in the battle for 8th and 9th. It looks like Ram Driver's closing that gap as well as he gets a little bit wide there coming into the final section of the lap. Didn't really cost him too much though in the grand scheme of things. In the meantime, Kurt Hodgson's pulled up to within 2 seconds of Frugox in the battle for 4th and 5th. We've been keeping an eye on those guys for the last few laps. Ads has been pulling away from Mazda in the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Mazda in turn has also been pulling away from Frugox, so now Frugox is within the clutches of Kurt Hodgson. Whether or not he's going to hold on to this 4th place or is Kurt going to take it away from him, we'll find out in the final 20 minutes of this race. Looks like G is just coming towards the end of the pit lane now. He may have sustained some light front damage on that Porsche with that hefty whack that you saw into the pit wall as he came by. So he is a lap down on the leaders here. Looks like Mazda's just coming round to put a lap on G. Frugox and Kurt very close now. Kurt looks like he's pulled up to within a second here of Frugox. Is Kurt Hodgson going to be able to recover some of the positions that he lost in the earlier stages of the race and maybe put himself back into 4th? Somebody's gone off the track there. Somebody's gone wide onto the gravel. We'll try and get an indication of who that is. Well, we're trying to find out who that was on the gravel, but it doesn't appear like we're really getting any clues at this stage. Was it Morgan? It looks like it could have been motoring Morgan there on the gravel on the exit of turn 4, because he's brought it into the pits. So Morgan obviously will have to start the lap that he's retired on once again. You have to start that lap all over again if you retire to the pits. I wonder if he's incurring some kind of damage repairs. It does appear he's trying to run a man over on the pit wall, but Morgan, you're not going to be able to do that because he's stood on a step above you. So yeah, pretty futile attempts there as we're currently watching the battle for 4th and 5th. Frugox and Kurt Hodgson separated by absolutely nothing as they come out onto the pit straight to start what is lap 15 here of this one. And we're just hearing reports that Motoring Morgan has incurred a stop-go penalty of 30 seconds for his exploits inside the pit lane. So the race director presumably taking a dim view of that one, but we're currently watching Frugox and Kurt Hodgson still separated by absolutely nothing here. Is Kurt going to go for a late lunge into turn 4? It looks like he's a little bit too far back to go for it, but Frugox suffering with loss of grip a little bit, and you can see Kurt's definitely looking a lot more confident at this point in the race. Still not able to find a way through at this point, but this is surely a matter of time before Kurt Hodgson breezes past. He's been closing in for a number of laps now, but the last couple of laps he's been closing at about a second per lap. What does Frugox have left in the tank to try and fend him off? Does he have anything left, or is it going to be a routine pass here for Kurt? Frugox is defending it. Kurt's going to have to go around the long way. Oh, and he breaks very early there. Kurt's a little bit caught out. It looks like Kurt also broke a little bit too late for the corner as well. So in the end, Kurt going a little bit wide coming through turn 9 there. Frugox forcing him round the long way. Kurt seemed to be a little bit caught out there. I don't know if Frugox moved in a braking zone or exactly what happened, but at the moment Frugox still holding on to this 4th place by the skin of his teeth. Brilliant battle between these boys as they come out around the final corner to start another lap here. Is Kurt going to have a chance in the slipstream coming down the main straight? Surely this has got to be his best chance of taking the position throughout this race. He's got a good run here, but he might be a little bit too far back to go for it. It's going to be a brave move if he's going to go for a lunge at the inside coming into turn 1, and he thinks better of that one because he is too far back. But Frugox goes a little bit deep into the corner, and Kurt's surely going to sweep around the outside. Yes, he is. Kurt Hodgson is up into 4th place. Frugox in no position to defend that one. Routine overtake from Kurt Hodgson in the end. There's Motor and Morgan just serving his stop-go penalty of 30 seconds, and it does look like the only G has unfortunately retired from this race. That is a real shame there for our multiple world record holder in the V8 supercars over on Project Cars 2. That is a real shame there for him. So we go back with Frugox, who will be sort of losing the position to Kurt Hodgson at the beginning of this lap. Has he got the pace to keep with him and maybe make some kind of reply to him? Looks like Kurt at the moment has the measure of him. Ram Driver's pulled to within 1.6 seconds now of Metalhead in the battle for 6th and 7th place here. This could be well and truly a battle on here for that position. Rest of the field pretty strung out. Oswell's doing what he does best out the front. He's dominated this race ever since he lost the position off the start. He lost the lead to Kurt Hodgson, made that move back on him within the opening couple of laps, and since then has not looked back. He has ridden off into the sunset. It's been another phenomenal performance here from Oswell, who took the win last week at Hungary. Ended up lapping all but 2 other runners, and it's not been quite as decisive this time around. He's currently got a 30-second lead over Mazda, so it's near enough, I would say, actually. Really is incredibly impressive the way that he's able to apply himself to every single track in the same way and always gets the same results. And also Oswald is another driver who's got a lot of world records over on Project Cars 2, which is obviously where motive racing is. It's our main standpoint, so I always use it as a reference point due to the fact that we don't really know anything about these guys other than what we've seen on Project Cars 2 from them. But Oswald is another who has a lot of world records in the GT1 category. I believe the majority of them are. Incredibly quick in the GT3s, and he's taken to ACC like a fish to water. As I think I mentioned last week, Metalhead's pulled the gap to over 2 seconds to Ram Driver, so he's picked up the pace, probably feeling the pressure. Ram's still keeping him within his sights. Frugox is actually not losing as much time to Kurt as I would have thought. Kurt was closing on him for a while, but at the moment he's not completely losing Kurt at this point. He's still sticking with him. He's still in that slipstream as well. I think he's probably within a second as well. He is, so Frugox still with some good pace here at this point. Might be able to fight for this podium spot with Kurt Hodgson. Having said that though, Ads has been in for his mandatory pit stop, so I think Ads will probably take those positions off those two guys once they come in. So I think that's going to be a battle for 4th and 5th once all is said and done. Mazda currently running in P2 at the moment. 34 seconds off for the leader. We're expecting him to drop back in behind Ads once he comes in for his stop. Ram Driver's pulled out a little bit more of a gap here to Metalhead. He's now got almost 4 seconds to him, so Metalhead presumably made a mistake somewhere through the first or middle sector here. Spider-Man still going around in 8th place at this point. Not been the easiest of races for him driving the Bentley, but certainly keeping with it, and that's good to see. That's what we want. Back with the race leader, Oswell's doing absolute bits here at the front of the pack. It says on the telemetry screen on the left hand side that he's a lap ahead, but he isn't. That's just because there's a glitch where unless the driver behind has crossed the line, it shows up that they're a lap down. So let's see. We didn't actually get a time differential that time around. Looks like Frugox has picked up that P3 due to Kurt Hodgson coming in for his mandatory pit stop, so this could be Frugox's chance to get back up ahead of Kurt. If he can get his head down in these next few laps, he might have a chance of picking up that 4th place position once all is said and done. Be interesting now to see if Ads does come out ahead of Kurt. We are expecting him to come out clear of him, because Ads was in 2nd before he came into the pits. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's going to comfortably clear him, so Kurt there in the box. You can just see Ads going past the start finish line now, so he's going to be clearly in front of Kurt. So we're expecting Ads to reassume 2nd place once Mazda comes in for his pit stop. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a big thank you to everybody watching live on the YouTube and Facebook. And I want to read a few of these comments coming in. So Tivoka vouching his support for Metalhead tonight. Metalhead's had a tough race. Unfortunately, it's been a bit back and forth for him. He's unfortunately made a couple of mistakes which have dropped him off the battle with Ram Driver. He was closing in a few laps ago. That's a real shame for him. Looks like we've also got comments coming in from Only Sakara saying, "Come on, Kurt." Kurt Hodgson currently sat P5 at the moment, still engaged in a battle with Frugox for 4th place, which I'm sure is going to rage on till the checkered flag. We've also got J Palm saying, "Good to see you back in the commentary box, Andy." It's good to be back, J Palm. Shame that I had to miss it over the weekend. Working commitments, unfortunately, always have to come first. Oh, we see Kurt Hodgson getting a little bit sideways, putting it onto the gravel, just about getting it back in the... Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was very, very shaky there from Kurt Hodgson, but keeping it pointing in the right direction, only just. But yeah, no, great to be back here, J Palm. Unfortunately, I had to miss a couple of streams, which always sucks, but that's life. The only G says it doesn't get rid of the map, buggy game. Yeah, unfortunately, guys, the map that you see in the middle of the screen, there's nothing we could do about it. I've tried every possible solution to this problem, but it still persists for whatever reason. So unfortunately, that is just part and parcel of this Assetto Corsa Competizione spectator mode, which we're not actually using. We're actually using the pit monitor essentially. We're just flicking through all of the names on the screen. We're not actually using the spectator mode because it's broken at this point. We did send an email over to our server, the guys who run our server, Nitrado, and they said that it's not a problem on their end, it's actually a problem on the game due to the updates recently. It's completely messed that up for us, so unfortunately we're using this pit monitor screen. Tivoka saying, "Didn't get my DLC, I pre-ordered it." That's the GT4 DLC. I believe it's coming very shortly. Well, it's meant to be coming now. I don't know if anyone's actually been able to purchase it. Let us know in the comments if anybody's tried it out. But yeah, the GT4 is coming to Assetto Corsa Competizione. Hopefully we'll be able to get some leads going on that at some point down the line here at MR. As it does look like Mazda is into the pit lane for his mandatory stop. So now it's going to be pretty interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Frugox. No, sorry, not Frugox, Ads I mean. Because Ads was only running about 5 seconds ahead of Mazda when he came in for his stop. So is Mazda going to be able to get the jump on him? Let's keep an eye on this. Ads is just coming down the pit straight now. Mazda just getting going, so it does look like Ads is going to hold on to that position just about. There we go, so Ads past the pit lane, and there is Mazda just coming towards the end of the straight now. So Ads is up into what is the net 2nd place once this man in P2, Frugox, does come in for his stop. Now the question is, where's Frugox going to come out in relation to Kurt Hodgson? Because those two were battling over 4th place a little while ago. Seeing a comment there from Les Bedford saying that he has indeed been trying out the GT4 DLC. Les, if you want to get involved in some clean, fast sim racing here on Assetto Corsa Competizione, then be sure to join our Discord server. If you go to our YouTube homepage, click on the icon in the top right hand corner, you can get involved. that way. It's definitely well worth having a look at if you want to check it out. But in the meantime, Kurt Hodgson has got an 11-second gap up ahead of him to Mazda. Now we were expecting Mazda to come out considerably ahead of him, but now the question is, where's Frugox going to filter out once he comes in? Because he still needs to come in at some point, and he was engaged in a very, very close battle with Kurt Hodgson when Kurt did come in. But the gap between Frugox and Kurt Hodgson is just under, I think it's about 40 seconds, and a pit stop is around that amount, so I think it's going to be pretty close between these two guys, Frugox and Kurt Hodgson. Currently P2 and 5, but Frugox still yet to make his stop. Mazda's within 5 seconds of Ads, so also if Ads makes a mistake or something happens, then Mazda, I'm sure, will be right there to capitalise on that. So it looks like Kurt has just had a lap put on him by Oswills. Crazy to think these guys were battling over the lead on the first couple of laps. Kurt really gave it a good go. He's got some really good pace as Kurt Hodgson. We've seen it over the course of pretty much since he started here at Motive Racing. We saw it, he raced in our GT5 Ginetta League on Project Cars too, and he's been incredibly quick here in this ACC League, but unfortunately he just hasn't been able to catch a break. He's had the worst possible luck over the course of the first round at Spa. Everything went wrong for him. This one as well. Just can't seem to catch a break. But currently running 16 seconds behind Mazda. Obviously we are expecting him to come out pretty close to Frugox once Frugox comes in. Keep reiterating that, but it's very relevant to this particular battle. Looks like Ads is pulling out the gap to Mazda in the battle for third and fourth. 5.8 seconds separating those two at the moment. Just want to keep reiterating that Frugox, who's currently sat in P2 on your screen, will drop down to either 4th or 5th once he comes in, because he's still yet to make his mandatory pit stop. Oswill's still leading the way, driving in the #1 Porsche, and he's very much been the #1 today, as he was last week as well, and he's just coming in for his mandatory pit stop now. Also Frugox needs to come in as well, so he would be, in fact he needs to come in this lap, Frugox does, so if he doesn't come in he will face disqualification from this race. He needs to come in at the end of this lap. That is an urgent call for Frugox. You need to come in this lap, buddy. Oswills has just made his stop, he's just popping into the box now. So we're expecting Ads to pick up P2 once Frugox comes in. Mazda should pick up the final podium spot. But the big question is, where is Kurt Hodgson going to come out in relation to Frugox? We keep going back to this point, but it's going to be oh so close between these two. Looks like Frugox has continued going round. So I don't know if there's been a miscommunication with the rules, or whether Frugox is taking a big risk here. He could be staying out for one more lap and then coming in and gambling on Oswills and not crossing the line while he's in the pits. That is possible. But it does seem like quite a bold move. So we believe Oswills probably will cross the line to start another lap, so maybe Frugox could get away with this one actually. That's the point, he could be able to come in and then emerge from the pits. with Oswell still yet to cross the line. We'll have to wait and see, but Frugox has to come in this time around. If he doesn't, that is going to be a straight up black flag DQ from the race. Ads obviously will pick up that P2, Mazda P3. Looks like Mazda's coming up on some traffic here. We believe that is Spider-Man up ahead. There he is. So keep an eye on our man in P2, Frugox. Will most likely drop down to P4 or 5 when he comes in. He needs to come in this time. Frugox has to come into the pits, and he's not coming in. So Frugox is going to face a DQ from this one, unfortunately. There's a real shame there for the Ferrari. He's going to be disqualified from this race because he hasn't come in. So Ads is going to pick up that second position. Mazda will complete the podium. He's got to put a lap here on Spider-Man. He's just coming round to him now. That's a shame there. I mean, maybe it's just a mistake and he didn't read the rules and regulations over on our Discord server, but whatever it is, unfortunately the rules have been broken. It looks like Kurt Hodgson has picked up a drive-through penalty coming onto the last lap, so this could potentially be a DQ. I'm not quite sure. No, surely it will convert to a time penalty because he can't serve a drive-through on the last lap. You would think it would be converted to a time penalty. If not, then our stewards here at Motive Racing might have a look at that one, because that is a little bit harsh, I will admit. But here is our race leader, Oswills. He's going to take his second consecutive victory here in the ACC Sunday GT3 League at Motive Racing. Oswills is the winner once again. Fantastic job, dominant from around the second or third lap onwards. Frugox is going to come round in P2 in this race, but he is going to face a DQ because he did not come into the pits for a stop. So Frugox, he's not going to count. That P2 is not going to count here, I don't think. Ads is going to come round in P3, but we'll pick up P2 with the penalties taken into account. Driving in another 70 Bentley. Good performance tonight from Ads. Mazda coming round to complete the podium. Kurt Hodgson is going to finish in 5th place here in this race, sliding through the last section of the lap. Nevertheless, he's going to come round to complete the race. He's coming into the pits to serve his drive-through on the last lap. Ram driver a little bit down the road here. He's just about on the lead lap. He is going to be able to complete the race. Good performance from Ram driver tonight. We saw him getting involved in a few battles. He was kept going solidly, and great to have him out on the track as always. Not quite the excitement of the race that he had last week in Hungaroring, but I'm sure he'll take the points on the board for this one. So Ram driver comes round to take P5. Well, it looks like Kurt Hodgson's picked up an 80-second penalty for a drive-through, but I fear that the stewards may have a look at that here at Motive, because I think that's a little bit unfair for him. Metalhead completes the track in 7th place. Spider-Man came over in 6th. Morgan and G, unfortunate retirements from the race. So there you have it, guys. Oswill's taking the victory once again. His second win in a row here at Motive Racing. Can anyone stop this man? He seems in a league of his own. Certainly on the evidence of the last couple of weeks. Frugo X in the end coming home in P2, but I believe he'll be disqualified because I didn't see him come into the pits for a stop. So ladies and gentlemen, that is that for round 3 of Motive Racing's ACC Sunday GT3 League. Be sure to join us in around 15-20 minutes time for our touring car league over on Project Cars 2. I've got to go get my wheels set up because I will be out on the track for that one. But from all of us, it's a big thank you for joining us live on the stream. And if you like what you see and you want to get involved, then be sure to join our Discord server. If you're watching on Facebook, then click the link in the description. Take a look at everything else, our Discord, our YouTube, all of our socials. If you're watching on YouTube, click the icon in the YouTube homepage. That will take you over to the Discord server. If you've got a PlayStation 4 and you've got any racing game, then come along, have a look and see if it's for you. But anyway, we're going to get off, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you hopefully soon for the touring cars coming up at 8 o'clock. Peace.